Hey everyone, welcome back to the garden. Sort of, we're inside again today. But I'm going to do a video today that's a little bit different from what I would normally do. I'm going to be placing some plant orders soon. And again, normally I wouldn't show you what I'm ordering because it's not something that I feel is important enough that I don't order large quantities of anything so that I have to do a video about it. But what I'm ordering is for an area that needs a bit of a rework. It's not a large enough area where I feel like I have to do a plan, but this is an area of the garden where I thought we had finished and no changes were needed. I should have known better. Sometimes things don't work out that way. You plant a plant and it gets sick and dies and you have to remove it, or it outgrows the space and you need to remove it for whatever reason. So it's just a small area. And I'm kind of struggling with what I want to put there in place of a couple of plants we're going to be removing. So I'm hoping I can get your help. So first I'm going to tell you where this area is, and then I'll show you the plant that I need to remove and replace, possibly two of them. It's in our east garden, which is inside our fence, but this is the area directly adjacent to our patio, and it's right as you come outside the door. So if anybody's familiar, we have double doors from our dining room to our patio, and right next to the patio doors, next to the steps, is a blue arrow juniper, and there's a chaste tree there. So, and I'll show you a clip of what the blue arrow juniper looked like when we first planted it, and what it looks like now. I think I even talked about it a little bit in a video I did in the fall called Plant Talk, plants that I would not plant again. Well, blue arrow juniper was one of them. It's had a couple of diseases. Last year it got rust. We successfully treated the rust, and then it immediately got another type of fungal disease. And we just had to cut so much out of it. And the second fungal disease, the guidance is not just treat it, but cut all of the dead out. Well, on a juniper, they have these tiny little needles right up against the trunk. It's impossible to cut every single one out, but we have cut so much of the tree out that it just looks really misshapen. And the dryness this winter of the winds, especially, you can see it's continuing to brown all the way up. I don't think this tree is going to come out of this disease problem, and I don't really want to try. It's very high maintenance, and we have too much to take care of. I don't want to plant anything. I don't want anything in the garden that is going to take a lot of maintenance as far as spraying. We just, again, have too many things to worry about, that if one or two things need constant maintenance, nobody wants that in their garden. So the blue arrow juniper has to come out, possibly the one on the other side of the fireplace too. I haven't decided about that one yet. I'm guessing at some point it's going to go through the same thing, but I haven't decided what I would replace that with anyway, because over there, it is such a tiny planting bed. The whole reason why we chose blue arrow junipers for these two locations was because of their narrowness and because of their quick growing. They really, really grow fast, and we needed, next to our patio doors, we needed something narrow there because there's not a lot of room and for privacy. So again, thought I found the perfect solution. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out to be that way. So again, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll talk a little bit about what I'm thinking about ordering to go there, and I'll get your opinion. Then I'll tell you, why each of these items I think would be a good candidate for this location and which I'm leaning towards the most. So here's the area. You can see right next to the steps there, the blue arrow juniper. This is about a year after we planted it, and this is what it looks like now. So completely covered in rust, and I suspect another type of fungal disease. You can see how much we've had to cut out of it. You can see this is in the summer of 2025. It just continues to decline. And again, I don't want something here that I have to constantly maintain for these kinds of diseases. And I think I've even gone off the idea of putting something evergreen here. You can see the chaste tree next to it. It's gotten quite large. I probably could just use the chaste tree here and be done with it, but I do want something that's a little bit taller. We have room for the chaste tree up at the top of our property. The blue arrow juniper is just going to go. We planted it here again because we need something narrow at the time we needed something narrow, and across from it are Forever Goldies. They're not quite growing fast enough to provide us the privacy we were looking for. So you saw the area there, you saw how limited planting space we have, and like I said, I'm kind of over the idea of needing an evergreen there. The Forever Goldies in the past couple of years, when I go back and look at what they looked like, say in 2023, when you saw how small the blue arrow juniper was compared to what they look like in 2025, they have put on quite a bit of growth, even without lack of rain that we've been under. So I'm hoping that trend continues. It's supposed to be about 12 to 15 feet tall, which is perfect for there. That will provide the privacy we're looking for, so that I don't necessarily need an evergreen here now. Next to the doors, when we walk out, we'll get the privacy that we need from those Forever Goldies. So I like the idea of having a tree here. Now, again, we don't have a lot of room here, and the couple of trees that I've selected for either, well, both of them are quite narrow-ish, and not really large, but they will grow, like they'll have a trunk, and then the branching will start several feet above the trunk. Some of the trees that I was looking at, like for example, a Parkland pillar birch, they branch right to the ground, and I don't necessarily want to have to continue to limb something up either. And I think the Parkland pillar birch gets quite tall. I don't want anything that's going to tower over everything here. I think they can get like 35 to 40 feet tall, if I'm thinking correctly. One of the things I chose is about 8 to 10 feet tall. And one of the things I chose, again, can get up to 25 feet tall. That's in about 10, 12 years. Again, I don't want anything that's going to tower over this area. I don't mind if we throw a little bit of shade to the patio, because it can get quite hot on those stones. What I don't want to happen is on the bed opposite where the American pillars are, if you're familiar with our garden, because most of the perennials and the shrubs that are in front of those American pillars are full sun plants. So I don't want a tree that's going to get 25 feet tall by 20 feet wide and in the afternoon throw a lot of shade over there, because I don't want to have to remove everything from the opposite side in 5 years. I'm trying to get away from just jumping the gun and ordering something and then in 5-10 years have to change it out. That's why we've been so crazy in our garden the last 2-3 years, because that's how I used to garden. So I've kind of learned from my mistakes. And I've been racking my brain over what to replace this blue arrow juniper with. Every time I see something online, I change my mind and I think, oh yeah, that would work. I've run the gamut of pyramidal evergreens to pyramidal trees. And I think honestly, like I said, I'm off the idea of needing an evergreen there for several reasons that I won't go into, other than the privacy. But, you know, at one point I thought something like a Steed's holly, but they can get quite wide at the base and look really squat. I like the idea of a Ilex crenata because I like their small, glossy, non-pointy leaves, but it's not easy to find one that will get, say, 7 to 8 feet tall, but only stay 3 feet wide at the base. And I don't like sky pencil hollies, just not a fan of those. I have found on fast grown trees something called an arrow point holly, which would be perfect, but I'm ordering those for another place in the garden to replace something else. So I think I've narrowed it down to 2, so let's take a look at those. So both of the trees that I am thinking about ordering for here that I've narrowed it down to are redbud trees. Both are purple foliage and both are small. One is a lot smaller than the other. One of them is upright and one of them is quite rounded. Now, like most redbud trees, they grow well in our area, are pretty disease free. They're hardy in zones 5 through 9. The first one is called A Garden's Amethyst Redbud, and it's by Storm Roses Plants. It is, as you can see from the pictures here, purple foliage. It can be a single trunk or it can be multiple trunk. The problem with ordering things online is you just don't know which you're going to get. And for this area, I really would like a single trunk. This again, did I say it's 18 feet tall and wide? And it looks quite rounded. And I took a few days to think about this. I was really ready to order this, and this was going to be the plant that I was going to go with. And I'm glad I did take a couple of days, I'm not sure this rounded tree that might get 10 feet wide is the right look for here. I don't know how far off the ground the stems are going to start to grow. Again, I don't know if I'm going to get a single trunk or a multi-trunk. But because I like the idea of being able to underplant something in this bed, again, the chase tree is going to go, so this area is going to be wide open. The chase tree is probably about, gosh, I don't know, at this point it's probably 5 feet tall by almost 5 feet wide, and then where the blue arrow juniper is probably adds a couple of extra feet. Nothing is going to go right in the hole there where the blue arrow juniper was. I think part of the problem is that's under the eaves of the house. Whatever we plant there just doesn't get enough precipitation. We have to constantly water it. So it will come out a little bit. It will be in the middle of this bed. And I do like the idea of underplanting. So I need to have something here that the stems are going to start at least 4 feet off the ground. And I don't know with a tree that only gets 8 feet tall if that's going to happen. It is pretty. I love the purple foliage. I think it does go a little bit green purple in the summer, but that doesn't really bother me. And it's, 8 to 10 feet tall and wide, so perfect size for here. Again, I'm just not sure I don't want a tree that looks like a lollipop. I don't like that rounded canopy for this location. And one more thing, I can only find a 3 to 4 foot tall garden amethyst redbud online. That's quite small. I don't know that I want to start with something that's quite that small. Redbuds do have a tendency to grow moderate to fast, but 3 feet tall is like waist high on me, and that's quite tiny. And I feel like with something that's small to start with, it would be quite difficult to underplant and figure out what to put there in the meantime. So the next tree that I'm going to talk about, at least I can find something that's a little bit bigger to start with. I do like the foliage, the glossy foliage of this redbud. And the one picture that I just showed, I did like the shape of that one. It did look like it was multi-trunked though. So that, again, you just don't know what you're going to get online. And again, I don't know, even if I did get that one, it's quite pretty. I just don't know that it's the right tree for this location. So let's talk about the next one. So the next tree that I think this is going to be the one is called a purple vase redbud. And it is very similar to the Summer's Tower redbud that we planted in our 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 bed last year, and the way that it grows. Now the Summer's Tower has green leaves. The purple vase, obviously because it's called purple, has purple foliage. And you can see from these pictures that it grows more upright. Now, the pictures that I've seen from the Summer's Tower showed, and I can verify that, I can see what it looks like out my window. The Summer's Tower does kind of grow up like this and out, so very vase shaped. Although a couple of pictures that I've seen of it online show it kind of growing normal with lateral branching like a normal tree would grow. And it's interesting because when I was doing some research into the purple vase redbud, a lot of the pictures that I can find online are the same pictures from the Summer's Tower redbud. So I'm not sure if these growers are just using the same pictures. Like that's a little, it's a little shady, I'm going to say, because you don't exactly know what it's going to look like when you get it. If they're showing you the same pictures when it's in flower, they both look exactly the same. So not sure about that, how I feel about that. But I do like the way this tree grows in more of a regular tree fashion. And it does look like, because it's, I don't think I gave you the stats on this yet, the measurements. So it can get up to 25 feet tall, which is a little concerning because, again, I don't want anything that's going to throw shade over onto the bed opposite. But it's only 7 to 10 feet wide. So perfect width for this bed. And if it does grow in more of a vase shape, then that's even better. Again, I do like the purple foliage. I think, because we're taking something out of here that was blue, well, the blue and the purple, they're completely different, but it does give something other than just green. So I like that. Again, just like every redbud, it has the pretty purpley pink flowers in the spring. And I feel like the purple vase redbud will just start its branching a little bit farther off the ground than that garden amethyst. I can get a purple vase redbud that is already 5 to 6 feet tall online from Sooner Plant Farm. I've ordered a lot of stuff from them in the past, and typically I don't have any issues. The Summer's Tower redbud came from them last year, and that was a really nice height. And once we got it in the ground, it started to put on growth pretty quickly. Again, I'm trying to avoid planting something here that I might have to pull out in 10 years. I don't know if I'm going to even be in this garden in 10 years. And I certainly don't want to make the same mistakes I've made in the past with just getting excited for ordering plants, putting them in the ground, and finding out 3 or 4 years later that everything needed to change. Because we're there right now with the blue arrow juniper and having to take that chase tree out. But so these are the 2 trees that I'm leaning towards. Again, they're not evergreen. I think I've gotten over the idea of having to have something evergreen here. I like the idea of being able to underplant. And while I don't know what I would use to underplant yet, kind of gets me excited. We do have a couple of variegated 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 that are in the area right now that we'll probably just repurpose and use under here. You know, we can just carry on the theme that we have going in the opposite bed with the 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 white hydrangeas and plant some of those under here. The white hydrangea with the purple foliage of the redbud would look really pretty. We could do some white 𝗟𝗓 with pretty pink blooms in the summer. I don't know, so there's all kinds of ideas running around in my head, but I at least want to get that redbud or get that blue arrow juniper out and get something in its place. So let me know, am I going in the right direction? Do you guys like either of these choices? Again, I said I'm leaning towards the purple vase because I like the kind of traditional tree shape that gives here. It doesn't get really ridiculously tall for this area. It has the pretty purple foliage, pretty pink flowers in the spring. It will give me the ability to underplant underneath it. I think I mentioned I considered a couple of different times once I saw that blue arrow juniper was going to need to be replaced, the Parkland pillar birch. I don't know that I like that. Not only do I not like something that tall here, I don't like the foliage color for here. I think I've considered Kindred Spirit oak. I do have one of those coming from the garden center where I work. I asked them if they could order that for me, but I think I'm going to use that on the other side. And again, that can get a little bit tall. Yeah, let me know what you think. I think it would be pretty here, but again, I'm trying not to jump the gun and order something here and plant something just to get it in the ground, just to get that blue arrow juniper replaced, only to find in 2 or 3 years that, well, that didn't work either, and now we have to replace something else and find someplace else for that in the garden. Trying to get away from that. So thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully you're thawing out because we're not. Bye.